Now let's continue to move forward with the no contact rule. But in this case, if you have a child with your ex, then this video is going to be for you because ideally you're going to be following the what is called the reduced contact rule. And with the reduced contact rule in this video, what we're going to be really discussing is what the reduced contact rule is, why it's important, and then the 8 rules to kind of follow. And then after we discuss the 8 rules that can help you equip yourself to set yourself up to be able to still move on, create that space, and really be able to reclaim your life moving forward, I'm going to share my screen with you to kind of go over a worksheet that you're also going to have access to inside the course. And ideally, it's just going to help you better prepare the meeting before you meet with your ex. If you have to meet with them, whether it's an exchange of the children or whatever it will be, it's you being very intentional about the conversation that you're going to have with your ex before you actually meet your ex, so that you don't step too far into the hurtful waters that can cause a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, a lot of annoyance. It could ruin your day, ruin your night, ruin your evening. You know how it works. So we're going to try to help better prepare you by equipping you with a worksheet that can help you think through that conversation before you actually meet with the ex to drop off the kid or whatever the situation may be. Now, ultimately, let's talk about the reduced contact here. Now, the reduced contact is really important for those of you that are like challenged because you currently have a kid involved and a kid in a picture. And what a beautiful blessing that is. So let's not take that away. And let's not look at the kid as a curse because you had it with a person that the relationship fell apart. There is so many blessings. And I say that because, a lot of the times our mindset can be like, well, I would finally be free if it wasn't for the kid. And that's not how you need to look at these. Your kid is a beautiful blessing. And as time continues on, you're going to learn to manage and heal and deal with the ex that's in your life. And because the kid's always in your life, the ex is always going to be in your life. So now we have to deal with your ex and still try to create the space in order to heal. And you can do that through the reduced contact rule. So this video, we are really just going to help you continue to extract, remove, detoxify your ex with the reduced contact rule. So if you feel like it's impossible for you to follow the no contact rule to heal because you have a child together, and you both have to take care of them, then this is going to be for you. So what does reduced contact rule mean? Ideally, the reduced contact rule really means it's a matter of having minimal physical contact with your ex and keeping everything strictly business related. So what does that really mean? Ultimately, no falling for manipulation attempts, no games, and no arguing. Like keeping it very business oriented, because ideally you guys are basically in a contract where it's a unwritten contract that basically states that you and I both are going to do what's best for the child, and anything outside of that does not need to be discussed. So if you are currently some of the manipulation attempts I'm talking about is once again, sometimes people find it rather challenging to move on and create the space because their ex invites them over for dinner, and then the manipulation attempts, the movie comes on, things escalate, you're back in the bed. It's just not a good spot to be in. Or there could be 100 different manipulation attempts. That could be a video in and of itself. But ultimately, the goal behind this is keeping that relationship strictly business, not allowing them into your personal life as much as, it's ideally thinking about this in a way, how much would you want your boss to know about you? And what kind of conversations do you have? They're more subsurface level. They're more surface level than they are subsurface level, and that's the goal here. It's really not asking your ex how are they, how's their dating life, are they talking to people, that scratch that, because ultimately it's usually a gateway into what causes arguments, frustrations, pains, pointing fingers, blaming, no responsibility being taken, and it just becomes a tough moment in time. So ideally, it's basically keeping everything strictly business related. And there's a certain set of rules that I believe everyone must follow if you want to protect yourself from attempts of self-sabotage while taking care of your child, or whatever it might be. So along the way, there's 8 rules that you should follow, and to help you basically to prepare yourself to create the space needed in order to heal in the reduced contact rule. Now, once again, The no contact rule is the best case scenario so that you can remove. But if you have a child, then it's going to be challenging. But the first rule that I always tell most of my clientele is you've got to eliminate all unnecessary contact. Now, this is important because only you have to only meet them when it's absolutely a necessity. When it's only necessary, that's the only time that you should be meeting up with them. Avoid any other encounters under all costs possible. So, yes, it might be perceived as impolite and maybe even rude, but once again, this is about you and your healing. You need to really focus in on yourself during these next 60 days, and you can't find yourself getting bogged down with the emotional turmoil and traps and manipulation attempts and arguments along the way, because every time you fall, you have to reset. It's like you built yourself up for 10 days and then you fall under the grips of the manipulation attempt and you're back to square one. And it's like, you're doing so good. And then once again, you fall down. And that's part of the circulation of a relationship. It's part of the, the cycle of the breakup, of the relationship. However, you just got to make sure that you eliminate all unnecessary contact. Do not care about whether you appear as rude. If you need to be offensive for your recovery, then just go ahead and be it. But make sure that you keep all the BS to the side and keep it all business related. So, like I said, when you eliminate all unnecessary contact, you're not reaching out to them to see how their day is, where they're at, what they're doing, who they're with, any of that. Checking in on them, pointing the finger, blaming them, it's over. Give yourself some time to heal. And this doesn't need to go on forever. It's just give yourself the time and space to heal. It should be 60 to 90 days. So that's the first thing. The second big idea is always be businesslike and cheerful. This kind of means to me that you never let them see how much you hurt. You just don't ever let them see how much you hurt. You will hate yourself later for complaining to your ex. Also, I need you to never bad talk your ex to others, let alone your children, because that's your child's father. That's your child's mother. You can't badmouth them and point them in a direction and make them grow hate for the other adult just because you hate them. That is going to tear them apart. And as you tear them away from the other parent, they're going to have hate and hurt in their heart. And what does that have? What does that cause? The hurt people cycle. As you're hurting, you hurt your child. And as they're hurting, they're going to go off and hurt themselves or somebody else. And so this is a really delicate area where you got to make sure that you're not being like, well, your dad or your mom or whatever it is, whomever it is. Once again, you don't make them look as the bad person, as the bad parent, as the wrong in the wrong. So always be businesslike and cheerful. Number 3 is to don't argue and ask for a second chance or beg for them back. Now, this might sound very obvious to do, but you will find yourself in this situation when things may seem as they were before, just a little, for a little moment. Don't do it. You'll regret it. Fight the surge. So basically, when you're in a situation with your ex, you're dropping off the kid, who knows, you two might even take them out to dinner, every week, once a week. You might spend some time together and things might just seem like it's all back to normal. And this ideally is what I'm talking about when I'm saying, hey, be careful, because once again, you'll fall for the manipulation attempt for them to get what you, it's kind of like being able to have the cake and to eat it too. Okay. One partner is going to be left devastated. The other partner is going to be left feeling fine. It's like, well, you just invited me over to your house. You just, took us out to eat. You just, and I mean, and now you just kick me out and don't make me feel, loved or appreciated or taken care of. You confuse the hell out of me. Yeah. You know the conversation. I know you know this, and I don't need to point your, through this conversation, but it's ideally to make sure that you don't argue, you don't ask for a second chance, you don't beg, and you don't find yourself in situations that lead you to regret. The fourth big rule here is to keep conversations only professional and kid related. When you do meet up with your partner, with your ex-partner, you got to make sure that you keep everything very professional. And that means no personal conversations whatsoever, nothing about their private life. How are you doing? Questions related to the private life, or any questions that might, We need to really talk about something. Like, listen, just give yourself 60 days time. That's it. That's all I'm asking. 60 days to kind of just allow that to kind of relax, step back, and just, you can talk about it in another 60 days. You got 60 days. And when you do that, what it's going to allow you to do is get a little bit more self-control, a little bit more, self-centered, a little bit more peace with the situation, a little bit, just a tiny bit. And you're going to build the strength and inner confidence to be able to hold that conversation so that you can begin to work on what needs to be worked on. But if you go in and attack the situation right after you guys break up, it's only going to lead to more problems, more frustration, more annoyances, and a lot more pain. So let's make sure that the conversations stay professional and kid related. Number 5, if you can't talk, then write. So this one can be a little bit challenging for most, but ideally, if you can't talk to them, write to them. That means text messages, right? If you find it challenging to communicate with your ex for a longer time frame about, business/kid related things, just don't do it. Don't waste your energy. It's hard for you to feel determined enough to get out of bed at times, let alone try to take on those life draining conversations, and continue to take care of yourself, take care of your kid, take care of your work, take care of life in general, to get yourself motivated to continue to move forward. So ideally, just maybe hold conversations only through writing or text messages, because then you can kind of step away and not allow yourself to be so triggered and say the wrong thing, react in a bad manner, do something that you'll regret. It's just not a good idea. So if you're struggling with that conversation, definitely do something, in person. Rather be in person, just text them. Give that a try. Number 6, this one should come pretty obvious, but protect the child at all times. Don't allow your ex to use the child as a way to get to you, and don't do it yourself. Act in front of them as adults who respect each other. They must see you as a functioning unit that gives them stability, that they can rely on both parents, that one's not fault. The relational dynamic could have been, fixed in the essence. That things could have been worked on. Like, listen, we're not perfect individuals. We make mistakes and we both mess up. This is not all their responsibility. It's not all your responsibility. The reason why you are where you are is because both parties have failed in their attempt to make things work. Maybe one more than the other, but nonetheless, it takes two to tango. So make sure that you're doing the best that you can to protect your child and respect your partner as best that you can, at least while you're around the partner, your ex-partner, because if you don't, it's going to continue to rip the child's heart apart. Number 7 is avoid long eye contact. I think one of the greatest ways to feel intimate, connected, and felt is by holding eye contact with somebody. So if you want to get to know someone, you hold eye contact with them. If you want to connect with them, you get to hold eye contact with them. If you want to get to, really feel what someone's feeling and experiencing, you hold eye contact with them. And ideally, I'm asking you to avoid the long eye contact when you are interacting with your ex-partner. Resisting the urge to initiate deep eye contact to look for a connection is something that you must continue to do. I know that you have the desire to detect any sign of interest in your ex's eyes, any trace of what was before in the past, to reclaim what you once had so that you can rebuild it and be in a better place, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, whatever the cost may be. But ultimately, you just need to spend some time in the holding of eye contact, but don't dive deep in trying to learn about them, to try to read in between the lines, to try to study their nonverbal cues, to study their body language, to connect with them. Stay shallow. Stay a step back, not a step forward. And that just means don't hold lasting eye contact that causes you to read into them too much, to cause you to feel a miss, a pain, a longing, a belonging. And this will help you to kind of continue to create the space needed in order for you to heal as you continue to interact with them. And last but not least is to beware of your ex's games. My friend, the ex games are real. And I'm not talking about the sports. I'm talking about your ex. I'm talking about your ex partner. At one point or the other, your ex may test they may test you. And if you are still attracted to them, they're going to test to see if you are still attracted to them. The result is playing stupid games or making stupid offers. And though it might seem very usual, or it might seem like the behavior is something that piques your interest, you shouldn't run to it. She may appear in those sexy pajamas when you come over to get the kids, or he may test if he still's got some power over you by pulling some old strings. Those things can bundle up, cause so much problems, make your life so much more difficult. And this is where a lot of people end up staying stuck. One of the greatest reasons why people stay stuck in their pain is because they fall for the manipulations and the traps in the X Games just to get a quick fill. It's like, oh, let's just for one night, let's just go back to the way everything was before. I'll stay at your house. Well, our daughter can, will be with us. We'll watch a movie. We'll have some popcorn. We'll do some dinner, and let's recreate it. And that is going to destroy you. That's going to destroy you. That's going to make your child confused. That's going to make your heart hurt even worse. And that's why I'm asking you to beware of your X Games. It's going to be very important for you to be aware of your X Games, because it's going to, as you become more aware of the X Games during the 60-day period, you're going to be able to create the space needed in order for you to heal. And that's ultimately the goal. So once again, those are the 8 big roles here as you continue to follow the reduce contact. It's really, remember, you're going to continue to interact with them, but while you're interacting with them, the goal is to not feel so connected to them. And the 8 roles is eliminate all unnecessary contact is number 1. Number 2 is always be businesslike and cheerful. Number 3, don't argue, ask for a second chance or beg. Number 4, keep conversations only professional and kid related. Number 5, if you can't talk, then write. Number 6, protect the child at all times. Number 7, avoid long lasting eye contact. And number 8, be aware of your X Games. Now, ideally, this is going to set yourself up for the best bet so that you can finally create enough space in order for you to heal over the next 60 days. And with that being said, I do want to share my screen with you. And with this shared screen, when you do meet your ex, I do want to talk about this idea. How important it is for you to prepare what you're going to say, how you're going to be, how you're going to show up. Ideally it's just the preparation. It's the thought process behind it. It's being intentional before you see them. And a lot of people go in and allow their emotions to get amped up and enraged and get triggered. And then they go in with game plan, forget the game plan because the emotion got in the way, and it causes a bunch of problems. Fireworks that take place and you're just blowing up on each other, and you're leaving, storming off, bawling in the car. And this is the idea that I'm trying to help you to prevent. So you got to prepare before meeting your ex. So never give up the power that you regain through the no contact. So some of the prompts here that I'm asking you to work through before you meet with your ex is going to help you to gain the control and self-confidence and interdependence to be able to navigate that conversation so it doesn't escalate and you end up at their house, or you end up in a bad situation, or whatever it might be, in a bad argument and a breakdown. So list out, before you meet them, list out things that you don't want to say to your ex. What are some things that you don't want to say to them that you shouldn't bring up? It's not the timing. It's, before the 60 days are up. It's something that you just need to hold back. What are some of those things that that you shouldn't say that could cause a trigger in them, that could cause problems with, the relational dynamic as co-parents, or even in a child's heart? The next thing I want you to really think about is things that I do want to say to my ex during this time frame. You have a little window to say what you need to say. Keep it business related. Focus on the child and let everything else go. So what can you say? This ideally is usually rather small. You'll have a couple questions that you might want to ask them, but ultimately outside of that, it should be over. And then what is the object of this meeting? It could be as simply just dropping off the kid because it's his weekend or her weekend. It could just be like the object of this meeting is to figure out financial obligations, or maybe, Christmas or whatever it might be. What is the objective of this meeting? It's to talk about what? Most of the time, it is to talk about something. Now, as you answer these following prompts, I need you to then visualize yourself doing and saying the things that you want to do or say, being confident, always on top of your situation. And looks like I got to fix that real quick. But nonetheless, here's just a quick preparation sheet. This is going to be important for you to be able to navigate the things that you shouldn't say and things that you should say so that you can actually begin to set yourself up in a better situation so that you don't end up where you don't want to be. Sometimes we end up where we don't want to be because we don't know where we want to be. So we end up in a location, we end up in a place, we end up in an emotional, unstable place mentally because we never set our intentions on who we wanted to be, how we wanted to feel after that interaction. So that's a part of this. So that is the reduced contact rule. If you have questions, be sure to let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. So nonetheless, my friend, I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me.